Branden here. Time for more Branden's boy problems. Now, this episode is about these love-bombing Latinos that I keep encountering in New York City. Now, I can't say that I wasn't warned before I moved to New York. Everything I've ever heard about Dominican men, whether it was online, whether it's on TV, movies, etc., has been bad. I mean, they say Dominican men are gorgeous, sexy, charmers, which is all true, and I'm experiencing firsthand as someone that's living in the most Dominican part of New York City, Washington Heights. But I literally moved there, and my first week I'm already getting like used and discarded by like a hot Dominican guy. Though this one didn't live in Washington Heights, lived in the Bronx, which also I feel like is a red flag. But it's like we go out on a date. He's really hot. He says I'm really hot. He says he's really into me. I'm really into him. The date seems to be going really well. We even like hook up. We didn't go all the way, and we even like slept over afterwards. There were a lot of revelations and red flags, which obviously I should be looking at from the brighter side. Like, yeah, I dodged a bullet with that. Like the fact that he's married, living with his ex, the fact that he is Dominican, living in the Bronx, and then also I guess the fact that he didn't grow up, I guess, with a family relationship, even though, I mean, I'm not a big family person, but I feel like, I guess, it is wrong to judge that, but it's also, like, if you know someone doesn't have that type of, like, background upbringing that you had, it does make discrepancies. But honestly, just the married Dominican living with his ex still, because apparently they can't afford a divorce is what his reasoning he gave was, and that the ex doesn't want to move out, but he claims it's his apartment, but the ex doesn't want to leave. So it was just like a whole bunch of red flags. Also, he's a Gemini, so that should have been the biggest sign. Since my ex is a Gemini, literally everything I've ever seen said Gemini, Scorpio, never gonna work. Yet here I am still attracting Geminis, probably because I am a Gemini rising, because I always end up with Geminis. But I'm like, literally, Scorpio and Gemini are not meant to be together. Like, our minds just work too differently. Like, we have nothing in common. Like, it's really just not meant to be. But this is just, I don't know, I was really devastated because you had like one great date, but then it's like I could tell things were off the next day, because even like when he left, he was like, I wish you the best of luck on your move. And it was literally like, I literally had just gotten my bed set up, but like my room was full of boxes of furniture I needed to get set up. And like, I was still just in the moving process. Like, again, it was like my first week in New York City. And it kind of seemed like I thought the date went well and I thought you had a good time. But then he is like, that message he's told me, it just felt like I'm never going to see you again. And then even like the next day, his communication wasn't as good as it was the previous day where we actually met. But I guess it is like, I liked that we started talking and went out the same day, because I feel like that is rare to happen. But like, I like that. I like that you're ready to move and be, because I'm like that too. It's like, I don't like wasting time. We don't need to talk for a week before we meet up. It's like, if you're free, I'm free. Let's go meet up. And like, the communication just was off the next day. Like, he wasn't that communicative, and that was definitely a red flag. Like, okay, this is not, clearly things didn't go well. But then like later he's texting me and like making all these promises, like, if you need any help setting up any of your furniture or anything, I'll do my best to help you. And he said like he was really into me, wanted to see me again, and then never saw him again. And then like weeks later, I see he unfollows me, and then I block him, because like, if we're mutually following each other and you unfollow me, I block you. Like, that's just my policy with anybody. But it just kind of like, it was just so fucked up, and it just really pissed me off, because I'm like, I don't know what happened or like why, because it's that whole ghosting thing. It's like, why are you leading me on? Like, we're both adults, we're in our 30s. Like, why are you claiming you like me, want to see me again, you want to do stuff for me, help me out in the future, like help set up furniture? It's like, I didn't ask you to do that, you volunteered that. So it's like, if you don't mean it, why would you say it? Like, I don't say things I don't mean, because I'm a mature adult. But I hate that bullshit. And it's like, why are we doing this bullshit? Like, you're a grown-ass man. But again, I guess it's my own stupidity. Like, why am I catching feelings with a guy I literally just met that's a Dominican, that's married in some green card marriage, living with his ex-husband that doesn't want to move out or get a divorce, and is a Gemini? It's like, literally, this man was not meant for me on paper, but like, he was hot, I had a good time. He was like exactly my type. He was a top and like a really cute, I was into him. And then nothing. And it was literally just like my wake up call. Welcome to New York. Like, everything you heard about these Dominican New York men is true. And I literally experienced it firsthand week one. And then that didn't stop me from now catching feelings for like another Latino. This one's not Dominican. This is a Panamanian guy. I saw him on Grindr. I thought he was really hot too. And I also noticed that he was already following me on social media, which is like kind of weird because it's like, you're following me and I like, but you've never like messaged me, and I don't know how else you would have seen my profile outside of like Grindr. But then like I was like, okay, well, if he clearly follows me, maybe he probably is gonna be interested. And then yeah, we like started talking. We like met up, hooked up the next day. He barely speaks English, which is a bad thing, and I barely speak Spanish, but that's never stopped me before in the past, looking up with guys that don't speak the same language. Like, I literally just use that Apple Translator app, gets the job done. It is awkward in person when you're trying to, like, communicate with each other, but it can work for a hookup. But I was really into it, but he, too, was also making all these, like, I want you to be my boyfriend, I'm really into you, let's be together. And it was literally like the first day, and I'm like, this is definitely a red flag, especially after what I experienced with the first one. Even just like in general, it's like, why are you saying all this? And then he also too, green card marriage, doesn't speak English. He's an air sign, Aquarius, which again, I have great sex with them, but it's not gonna work in a relationship. I'm just not compatible with air signs. Like, I'm open to it. I will still give an air sign a chance, but based off of my past experiences, there's literally no surprise when I'm like, this isn't gonna work. And of course it isn't gonna work. He was like giving me sex addict vibes. Like, we fucked, like he came, I came. I was good. Like, I wanted to move on, but like I was enjoying spending time with him, so I was like down to like cuddle and like hang out. But then he was like, let's fuck again, let's fuck again, let's fuck again. And I was like, oh my god, like no, like what is going on? It was literally like a weekday afternoon. Like, I was not trying to be there all day, even though I did end up being there a long time. But then like, I was not trying to do all that. Like, I'm not the type that's like, I want to go again and again and again and again. It's like, I gotta be in the mood. I gotta be high. I gotta be drunk. It has to be like a late night maybe, but like not the middle of the afternoon where I'm completely sober on a weekday. Like, and I just met you. Like, I'm not feeling that comfortable where like, I just want to go again and again and again. But like, he's that type of person. He was already talking about like even that first day, like, I just worry we'd have problems in a relationship because I like to have sex over and over again and you don't. And I'm like, bro, I just met you. And it's also like, just because I don't want to do it like this one time doesn't mean it's gonna be like a problem forever in the future. Even though I guess in reality, like, I'm not the type where it's like every time we have sex I'm going to go like again and again and again. It's definitely giving sex addict vibes. Like, if you can't be fine and satisfied with like coming once, you have a problem. And he, the next time I try to see him again, I realized he has a problem. Like, he literally, I was like, it was like a midnight. I was going to come over on like a weekday night just to like hang out, chill, because like I hadn't seen him. And like, I wanted to cuddle. I just wanted to see him. I wanted to spend time with him. And then he started talking about he wanted to fuck all night. And I was like, no, like, it's already midnight. Like, I don't want to do that. And then it's also, he started bringing up he really wanted to have a threesome. But I'm like, again, it's like a weekend night. Like, save a threesome for like a special occasion or like a weekend. Like, I'm not interested. And also, like, I don't want to have threesomes either. I guess I can't really say that anymore because I'm like, I just had one like probably the previous 2 days before with other people, but like, I'm really not that intimate. That also was awkward and not that great. So I'm kind of like, I think they're very overrated, and I hate how all these guys are like obsessed with threesomes. Want to have a threesome with me, and I'm just kind of like, I agree to them to like please them, but like it really doesn't pleasure me because they're always end up being awkward and like not that fun. Like, even if I'm like the only bottom, that's not fun for me. I'm like, because then they both just want to like take turns, pass me around, and then I'm like, am I involved in like the intimacy, the passion, etc.? It's like, I've been like the only bottom there. It still felt like I was the one left out. Like, it's really awkward. Like, I don't know. I just feel like none of the threesomes I've had recently have been that enjoyable, but also overall in general, I've had dozens of them, and I like don't. There's never been one where like, oh my god, I want to do that again. Like, it was really like, okay, that was fun for that moment, moving on. Like, I just prefer one-on-one, and I'm not that type of person. And he was like, he needs to have a relationship where they are having threesomes all the time because he's verse, even though he like presented himself as a top at the beginning, but now he's like he's verse and he wants to date me as a bottom, but so he's like he would need a guy to like be able to top him, or he wants to see other guys top me, and I'm just kind of like, no, like that's not the type of relationship I want. I don't want an open relationship. I don't want to have to threesomes with my boyfriend. I've done that in the past, hated it, would never do it again. I learned from that lesson. So he and I just really are not compatible at all. And the fact that like I wanted to see him again proved to me that he's not even compatible as a friend with benefits. I'm like, if you can't even just enjoy one-on-one hookup or spending time together, you need it to be like a threesome or wild sex every single time. You are not for me. And again, he's really hot. He was really charming. And that's the issue with these New York Latino men. They know how to be hot and charming, but it's also because they know how to manipulate men, because here they are, a lot of them come here with no papers and are looking for someone to marry them so they can get a green card. So they know how to seduce and charm their way into getting someone to wanting to marry them. So it's a lot, and I've only been in New York a month and a half, and I've already experienced like 2 green card marriage Latinos that I like immediately caught feelings for and learned my lesson. Like, okay, this is not meant to be. And I'm sure there's gonna be plenty more in the future because there are a lot of hot, sexy, Latino charming men in New York City, but it's just red flag after red flag after red flag at this point. And again, I've only been there a month and a half, and it's already been 2 of them have done me dirty. But thanks for joining me for this episode of Branden's Boy Problem.